Hi, I'm Dave Dinkle with your 2-minute tip. What's a breach of contract? Oftentimes, and oftentimes is relative, but I'm just saying if it happens to you, it's a disaster. Happens to other people, it's not so important. What happens is a seller doesn't come to closing, or an end buyer decides, I'm not buying for the property from you. Now, has he breached his contract, meaning you have a civil contract, it's black and white, at least in your mind it is. In his mind it's gray. But he decides that he's not coming to closing, whether he's selling or whether he's buying. So what is that called? It's called a breach of contract. So what can you do to bring that seller back to the closing table? Well, there's a couple things that can be done. The first one of which is have your closing agent send him a letter, call him, tell him that he's breached the contract, and he's going to be sued for specific performance or whatever it might be called in your state. Now, in some cases where you have black hat wholesalers coming in, you signed a contract Thursday 3 weeks ago, black hat wholesaler came along, offered the seller more money, and signed a contract with them Friday, the day after you signed it. But the black hat wholesaler knows the business very well. He got his closing agent to ramp up the title work, and he literally took the seller down and closed, and you come back and you find out, oh my God, why aren't you coming to closing? Well, if they talk to you, they say, I already sold the house. You didn't perform. You didn't come to closing. No, all that's not true. Somebody stole the deal from you. So what can you do now? The seller has sold, deed's been transferred, and you've moved on. Well, the remedy that we have is first and foremost to go ahead and file specific performance against the seller. And clearly, the only way to really stop it is the Thor's hammer of filing a list penance against the property, foreclose on it. But it's in someone else's name, doesn't matter. You want to gum up a title, that will gum up the title, and we've done it many times. And many times it's brought back to the closing table, a seller, even REO asset managers for major national banks, where they said, oh, we found out that somebody is reselling the property, we're not going to close with them. Well, they can't just not close with them. In a short sale contract, the lender can cancel right up through the closing date, but not in an REO contract unless it specifically says that. So the Thor's hammer, file a foreclosure against the seller, even if the deed's transferred. What can happen? The guy on deed, the new guy on deed that took the deal from you, most likely knowing when he was doing that, is going to have to come to you to get it released. And then you can start negotiating on a fee for what that's worth to you. That's a very important issue, and it's coming up more and more all the time. So, thanks very much. On to the next 2-minute tip.